I'm here with David Planella of the Canonical Community Team. David, you work a lot with the community. Can you tell a little bit about what you do now?
Yeah, as Amber was saying, I work in the Ubuntu Canonical Community Team, and originally I started working with translations, so my official title is Ubuntu Translations Coordinator, and while I'm still doing this, these last few cycles I've been transitioning to more of a app developer relations type of work, and I'm trying to juggle between these two. So that's why I cannot give you a clear answer, but yeah, it's different types of work.
Speaking of the translation aspect of it, how many languages is Ubuntu currently translated into?
Right now, I mean, it depends on what we consider by translated. The thing to understand is that Ubuntu can be translated into almost any language. So in terms of languages being translated, we've got like more than 200. I think it was like 220, something like that. But this goes with different degrees of coverage. So some of these languages are not that well translated. So if we talk about languages which we consider fully translated, we could say at about 40. So it's a great number, and it's like great to see that we are basically one of the most or best translated operating systems that there are, and all of this work is done by volunteers, which is the most amazing part.
Wow. So during the 11-10 cycle, there were some new initiatives that I think you put forth in that translation community. What were those initiatives, and what can the community of translators look forward to in 1204 and beyond?
Right. So one of the most important things that happened during the 11-10 cycle in the translations world was the work done on sustainable translations. This was an initiative to make sure we empower translation leaders from the global translations community to basically help coordinating translations and promoting the Ubuntu Translations project. So basically this is a group of community volunteers that are interested in making Ubuntu a better place for translators and helping not only their team, the one they are doing translations for, but basically all other teams from that want to translate Ubuntu. And that was something that went quite well last cycle, and this is something we'll expand on and continue and expand this cycle. Another initiative we were working on was to better present the statistics on how well translated Ubuntu is, and this has two aspects. One aspect is to basically present a better picture in how many languages Ubuntu is translated to anyone interested in using Ubuntu, so they can see whether Ubuntu is the operating system for them. And the other aspect is also we want to better direct translators to the places that need attention, places that need to be translated, so they can better focus their work. I mean, we are all community contributors. We have limited time, and we want to make the best use of our time. So, so directing translators to the most important parts of Ubuntu that need to be translated is something that really helps them in basically producing a completely translated operating system.
How can we'll talk about development here in a moment, but how can translators who want to translate Ubuntu, how can they get in touch with you or the people they need to get in touch with? Where do they go to get involved?
Right. So right now the main resource that we've got is the Ubuntu Wiki. And we've got Launchpad as well, which is the tool we use for translations. I think the first place I would direct people to would be perhaps the wiki. That would be wiki.ubuntu.com/translations. And there they will find all the information they need to start translating Ubuntu. We've got also an initiative to work on a translations portal, which will be translations.ubuntu.com, which will provide them with a nicer entry point to start contributing to Ubuntu. But I mean, we've got some of the infrastructure in place, and we want to expand more on this next cycle. So these are the two main resources for those wanting to translate or to start translating Ubuntu, but also for those impatient who want to start translating right away. They can go to translations.launchpad.net, then find the Ubuntu project, and there they can start submitting their translation suggestions.
Great. You mentioned that you were starting to work with development. So, on a different note, other than translations, you were instrumental in building out the new app developer site. What are the goals concerning app development for 1204?
Well, I think it's basic. I mean, there are different aspects. On the community side, it's basically growth. We want more app developers to start submitting their applications to Ubuntu, either new applications or existing applications that can be ported. And in the last few cycles, we've seen a variety of tools and infrastructure that have been converging into this point, where we've got something that we can offer them to make it easy for them to submit their applications. And ultimately, what we're providing them with developer.ubuntu.com is with all the information, with all the tools that they need to create their applications from start to finish and publish them into the software center, where they will be ultimately delivered to end users. So basically, we're providing a resource which is really useful for them, and which basically lowers also the entry point for application developers, which is also another interesting point, and in line with all the other initiatives we do with the community, where we want people to be able to easily get into the community and start doing work they like.
Is there anything about translations or app development that I haven't asked you about that you would like to talk about now? It's a broad question.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think one interesting thing of app developer or app development is that we embrace both the open source and commercial communities. So one important point I'd like to make is that we allow applications to be sent to the software center, to be submitted to the software center for both commercial and open source software. Canonical gets from commercial applications, we get funding to better support the Ubuntu project, and it's also important to make sure that these commercial developers feel welcome in the Ubuntu community, but at the same time trying to balance with what we've got as the values of our project, which is open source and free software, as a way to provide an operating system that's universal and free for everyone.
David, I've really enjoyed watching how the teams that you work on have grown and evolved, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in the 1204 cycle and beyond. So thank you so much for all the work that you do.
Thank you.
And thank you for sitting down and talking to me about what you and your teams do.
Thank you very much.